session is new business avenues in realty, and I'm going to invite our moderator for this session, Mr. Shiva Kumar C.R, immediate past president, NAR India. Dr. John Britto, Managing Director, the Acron Group. Mr. Anuj Munot, CEO and founder of Urban Work and the Homes Collection. Mr. Anantharam Varayur, co-founder of Manasum Senior Living.
Good afternoon, everybody. We generally say there are two difficult things to do. One is public speaking, and the second one is to speak in public after lunch. So they've given me two tasks now. Both are difficult ones. Let me see how we can take this forward. So it gives me immense privilege to introduce the gentleman on my left, Dr. John Britto. Dr. John Britto is the managing director of Acron, and he's been in the industry for 35 years. The similarity between John Britto, sir, and myself is that he also had his education in a place very close to my city. He studied from Montfort, Aircard, Salem. He did his MBBS graduation from St. John's, Bangalore, and been a builder now for 35 years, 3 million square feet, and 40 plus developments. So that's Dr. John Britto for you. And the second gentleman is Anuj. Anuj is a chartered accountant and an MBA from Narsi Monji, and very deadly combination that is. And Anuj was a former director at Kalpataru for about 2 decades. And then he moved out, and he's now the founder and CEO of Urban Works and also the Homes Collection. And I also understand Anuj is an angel investor, invested about 65 startups so far. Yeah, so that is Anuj for you. Then the third gentleman is also somebody who comes from Tamil Nadu. So yesterday I learned that his name is Anantharam Varayur and not Varayur. So Varayur is a place very close to Trichy. So he's Anantharam Varayur for you. He started BNI, and he's also, while discussing, we get to understand, he started a carbon credit company very early days then, I think 19, 18 years before he started a carbon credit company. But now what he's doing is something that's very, very close to his heart. He's started Manasum Senior Living, and they have projects in Goa, Bangalore. So please give him a round of applause. So I want to start very differently. So Doctor, we'll have a small rapid fire. So I'm going to ask you a quick rapid fire question. Medicine versus real estate.
Well, yes, I completed my MBBS, as you said, but very quickly with my younger brother Amar, who was here earlier in the other panel discussion, got into real estate back in the mid-80s. And yes, so now people ask me, am I practicing? So I mentioned that I am practicing real estate and hospitality.
Okay.
And yes, it is a quite a difference, but I've been now in our field for the last 35 years, so I don't think any patients are complaining about it.
Goa or Aircard, which do you prefer?
Sorry?
Goa or Aircard, which do you prefer?
Goa.
Or air card, Salem.
Oh, yes, my heart is in Tamil Nadu, but my workplace is in Goa.
Thank you, doctor. We'll move to Anuj. Finance or real estate?
Real estate,
Valuation game or IPO?
IPO.
Next, Anant. Anant is a marathon runner, mountaineer. So marathon, mountaineering or Manasum?
Marathon for me, Manasum for seniors.
Senior care or serious care?
Yeah, senior, definitely it's a senior care.
Thank you. So I'll start with Anuj and then come to you, doctor. Anuj, I understand there are about 117,000 startups, recognized startups in India by the government of India. Now, a lot of opportunity for freelancers and startups that have come up in India, and the work from home culture has started. Did this lead to the rise of companies like Urban Works, or was there a different thought process that you had in mind?
I think what you're referring to more is the startup culture that brought in the rise of co-working industry in the world. I think what Urban Work does is Urban Work is a managed office service provider, so we're a more evolved model from the startup. And we're predominantly focusing on enterprise customers. So some of our clients would include Deloitte, 3M, Carrier, L&T and such of that. I think the co-working industry is a great opportunity to get spaces for young startups and budding freelancers to find a space and not work from home. But I think that's all that industry can do, and the industry will evolve itself into the bigger game for sure.
Okay. So I'll give it to doctor. Doctor? Yeah. Oh, it's not working.
Yeah, thank you.
Doctor, the concept of a second home, as far as all of us are concerned, evolved post the pandemic after 2019. So, when did this idea of a second home germinate in you, and what was the inspiration that took you to doing second homes in Goa?
Yes, Shiva, it's actually in the last 36 years that we have been developing properties. All our products have been only second homes because it's Goa. And most people have, or, would like to have a holiday home here. So we have only concentrated in this particular segment. We don't have any primary home developments. And so, of course, there are so many developers in the urban areas and the metros, the towns and cities of Goa that are in that space. But we have specialized in this segment. So just very quickly, Goa, of course, has always had this attraction. But what we're seeing, even there were good demands for our homes before the pandemic. But now, especially after the pandemic, we're seeing a very heightened interest in second homes, and that's happening across the country. I think one of the things that the pandemic did is to, I think, make people sort of focus on other things in life and sort of re-look at their priorities. So especially when many of them in the urban areas during the lockdowns, etc., had to be cooped up in a multi-story building for weeks and months on end. Many of them have now buying homes in Goa because, as everyone knows, there are likely to be, I hope not, but likely to be future pandemics, and they would prefer to spend those kind of periods in a place, in a second home in Goa. But of course, there's other places also which are becoming very popular as second home destinations. Also, we're seeing people who are, going in for farmhouses. They're going in for buying sort of shares in eco resorts and these other kinds of real estate. So it's a very specialized segment. In a place like Goa, they don't want to live in a very crowded development. So there are many developers, of course, who are looking at Goa, but they would come with that view of having scale and, multi-home developments with hundreds of homes. But I think our profile or our target audience are buyers who want low-rise, low-density homes with fewer neighbors, a better quality of life, good spec, good design, good management and maintenance over the long term. So that's what we have seen in this particular segment.
Thank you, Doctor. I'll move to Anant. Anant, would you please explain what is the difference between senior living, assisted living, and geriatric care living? Because there's a thin line of difference. And what does the name Manasum mean? And why did you take up this journey of senior living?
Yeah, sure. Actually, before understanding the senior living, assisted care, and various things, we should know that how this whole the system started. Like if you look at in the early days, what used to happen is a lot of people migrated from village to the main cities, bigger towns or cities, right? So at that time, what used to happen is the parent would have minimum 3, 4, or 5 kids. So one of them will stay back in the village and take care of the parent, and then the rest of the people move to the bigger cities. Now what's happening, from the bigger cities, the people are moving anywhere in the world. Worldwide they are moving. So that way, this migration is nothing new actually. It was there earlier also and it is there now also. So the migration is a part of our life, in the sense people moving for their own career or their own employment and things like that. So that is quite common. So this is where exactly the need came forward. Like for example, earlier, since within the family somebody will take care of the parents, but now because of having one child, two child, or only the girl child, so these are all the cases where like when the daughter gets married and goes away, so what will happen to the parents? So they have to take care of themselves till their end, right? Similarly, if one son is there, if he goes away, moves away, so there has to be a need for taking it. So this is where exactly the need for the senior living has come in. Okay, so this concept is not a new. Okay, that's what I am trying to say. So many people will think that, oh, is it a old age where the seniors are dumped actually? It's not dumping the seniors there. It is a pride. Okay, it is a pride of owning your own apartment, owning your own villa, okay, and then taking care of yourself. In fact, a lot of senior citizen homes today are all self-funded. Okay, the people pay for buying the apartment and then they will stay there with all the facilities under. So now coming to your different segment, there is one is what we call it as an active living. That is where the Manasum is. So we are into the active living of the senior living segment. And there is something called as an assisted care. So assisted care could be anything, like it could be the dementia care, or it could be palliative care, or the post-operation, like somebody had a knee surgery or a hip surgery and things like that. It's difficult to keep them at home and take care of them post the surgery. So those are all comes under the assisted living kind of a thing. So these are the majorly two segments. So,
thank you.
Yeah. When it comes to Manasum, basically, I mean, initially it was Manasu, like from the heart
okay.
kind of a thing. So then we have added one M later.
Okay.
So that has got a long story, I can tell you sometimes.
Anuj, I have a couple of questions for you. One, I want you to explain what homes collection is, because all of us are aware that there's fractional ownership in commercial. The fractional ownership in residential is starting now. But what led you? What was your journey to come here? Number one. Number two, in terms of urban works, you need to tell us the differentiation between a co-working space and a managed space. And where do you think India's future lies? Does it lie in managed spaces or co-working spaces? What would your advice be to all realtors here?
So I'll answer the second one first. The difference between co-working and a managed office is managed office spaces look at larger client base, larger corporates, and customized spaces for over long-term, let's say 3-year, 4-year, 5-year transactions. A co-working, historically, what originally it was formed for was for small startups, there were smaller centers, business centers, and stuff of that sort. So the larger game, or the larger play, is the managed office service space industry. If you look at the stats, about 18% of commercial real estate every year is being signed by managed office service providers, which means almost every sixth agreement is a managed office agreement that you would go through in registration. 50% of commercial real estate on the MNC and the IT side was within a flex office. So I think the world has evolved, the world is changing, and that's very visible. Today we are about, I would say 55, 60 million square foot in size as an industry. We are expected to be about 100 million square foot in about 3 years' time from today. So I think that's the future that's very vividly and widely known. India is also the largest adopter of the managed office business. India is today at 7%. Everybody else is about 5 or 4%. Coming to the homes collection, please don't mistake it to be a fractional ownership of commercial real estate type something. Sorry, bad throat. The homes collection is a co-ownership platform built for actual enjoyment of the property for yourself and your family and loved ones. It is not so much from a rental income yield perspective. Of course, you'll have property appreciation, but it's not a rental yield game. The commercial real estate fractional, and I know some of the speakers spoke some things about them yesterday, is a very transactional money in, money out, kitna milega model. The homes collection is a model of the heart. It's an aspiration. How many of us can today stand up here and say, I want to own an Acron house? I think almost everybody will say yes. But how many of us can actually go to sir and say, sir, let's transact? Not so many of us. Why is a majority of India denied the opportunity to take a home with a great brand like Acron? Today, with something like the homes collection, we could collectively co-own a home with Acron, live in a brilliant property, and I've actually gone and seen your space. Actually go to a great place and do brilliant with it. The challenges of a second home typically are maintenance issues, cost issues, the initial capital outflow. And I think the way we've built our business model around here is that you're paying 1/7 the cost to be a part of a villa. Your maintenance cost is 1/7. So the white elephant has gone. And realistically, let's be real, nobody goes more than 5-6 weeks in any case to a second home, unless you're retired, in which case they'll come to him. But I think that's the model that we're trying to bring into this country, where we all know that India's GDP is, probably India's in the best years of its life at this point in time. There is no reason why any one of us here should fail in business today with the boom that is happening. The middle class income is going to go from 30% of India's population to about 60% of India's population in this decade. So this 60% of the population who cannot yet afford an Acron home, I think we will enable Acron and these buyers to work together.
Thank you. Doctor, India today has about 1.5 lakh branded keys, hotel rooms. And we are expected to touch the 400,000 mark very soon. Now, where do you see Goa and yourself playing a significant role in adding the number of keys to Indians' total share?
Yes, it's an interesting question. Goa has always been a very, popular place for holidays, and therefore already there's quite a very good, hotel room count to the total, to the size of the population and the total area. There's a huge amount of hotels, hospitality offerings of all types, from small mom and pop B&Bs all the way to luxury 5- and 6-star properties. There's a lot of demand, but the thing is here, particularly, the planning regulations, the approval processes, the zoning laws are very strict, and that's a good thing, of course, on one level. But as a result, the actual developable land that is available is much less than people think, because of the very strict CRZ regulations, because of regulations governing agricultural land, forested land that is of a certain, more than a certain gradient or slope. So as a result, development of hotels is not an easy prospect because of all these factors. And it's also very expensive. So our costs here in Goa are as high as anywhere else. There's no reason why they're any less. So it's a challenging sort of environment for development of new hotels. But of course, there are many new hospitality properties being built. And there are also a whole lot of 3-star, 4-star, and smaller Airbnb, OYO type of properties that are also now entering this pool. So it's interesting because I guess for the audience who are all realtors, that's a very interesting space, is where there's an active market in transactions in hotels. So the whole lot of hotels constantly changing hands. So there's a good scope for realtors in this particular space because it's a bit specialized and quite different from the other segments, of course. But there's a good future given the fact that there's all these other constraints. Goa will always be a popular place, I guess.
Thank you, Doctor. Anant, I'll move to you. We have very short time, but I want to ask you this. Where do you, I mean, what is the contribution of every state in terms of the senior living, and what is the size of the senior living market in India?
Yeah. Actually, I have made some notes. So if you look at the senior living as a concept, the South has got a highest market share. So South has got over 68% of the market share is with the South. And the West is about 13% and North is about 12%. And East about 5% and Central is about 2%. So this is the data from the recent JLL study, which is done in 2023. Okay, and then if you look at the kind of the market segment, like today, if you look at the senior population is about, by 2050, it is going to become 20% of the Indian population is going to become the seniors, 20%. And the one more, the best part is, I mean, best part or the serious one is the dependable people, like in the sense, the dependable segment of the society. There are two segments. One is the children and the other one is seniors. So in next 10 years, these two are going to become equal. That means the dependable society will become equal for both children as well as the seniors. So that is the kind of the market which is available. And then in terms of population, of course, 1.4 billion is the total population now. And in that 10%, which I said already, so by 2050 it is going to become the 20%, which is about 0.3 billion plus is going to be the senior living. And in terms of the business, actually, if you look at, by 2024, that is this year, it is $11.16 billion, which is about 1 lakh crore is the senior living market in India in this year. By 2029, it is going to become 1,50,000 crore market. Okay, so that's the kind of the potential what's available. So that way, I'm sure for all our the fellow realtors sitting here, so this is a very, very serious segment. Okay, the people have to take it as a very, very serious segment. And we are not the builders, we are the service providers. So we would like to get associated with the builders like you, okay, and then work with them so that we don't have the headache of construction. So our objective of being in this one is to look at the channel partners and also look at the builders' connections in the respective.
Thank you, Anant. Anuj, I want to ask you, what is the lesson that all co-working spaces should learn from WeWorks? What do you think is a lesson that all co-working players should learn from WeWorks? What do you think led to their failure?
Don't have two madmen together.
Sorry?
Don't have two madmen together.
Okay.
I think one with infinite capital who doesn't care about unit economics and one entrepreneur who doesn't care about profitability. I don't think you should bet on any one of those two horses because they're both donkeys at some point in time in life. In business, if you don't understand unit economics, don't get into your business. And if you can't trust the man to value the money as much as the money is yours, his own. So today a lot of this, and I heard Sam speaking about it also, a lot of people talk about angel investing, blah, 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 blah. Ask the entrepreneur, can he take out the money from his wallet and burn it the way he burns somebody else's money? If he can burn his own capital, that's the guy you got to bet on. I think the value of money cannot, under no circumstances, be underestimated just because it's not my money. Okay.
Yeah, I'll give you the last question, which should be interesting for everybody. Where are the other locations that you're trying to expand? Where is Urban Works trying to expand in India, other than Hyderabad, Bangalore?
So I'm wearing the green shirt today. You're supposed to be on Homes Collection. My team here is going to hold me for that. But Urban Work today is in Pune, Bombay, Calcutta, Delhi, Gurgaon, as well as Hyderabad. We intend to add another 4 or 5 more cities in this next calendar year, which is basically Ahmedabad, Indore, Chennai, Bangalore, and a few more. But then this is business. It takes us wherever it takes us.
Thank you, everybody. We are open for a couple of questions, and that's how much time we have. And Mike. So please tell your name and whom you want to answer. Who do?
My name is Satish Dandigaukar. I want to ask a question to Mr. Anuj Munot. It is about self-storage. I have seen a lot of self-storage places in USA and London as well.
I'm sorry, I can't understand what you're saying. Sorry.
Self-storage. I want, if you can highlight on self-storage. Self-storage. Self-storage are small warehouses, 10 by 10. When you have to leave your house, you can rent your house.
Are you talking about warehousing?
Self-storage. Self-storage.
Self-storage.
Yeah, self-storage. I've seen them in number in London.
Okay,
And
this is completely out of syllabus question. But what do you want to know?
whether India has scope for that. Whether we have scope for that in India.
So
India has room for everybody, no?
So I think there is a model of self-storage. There are some companies who are doing this briefly. I think there's a great potential. I know there's a company which stores only suitcases for you. Because what do you do with those suitcases when you're not traveling? Right? There are companies who do these things. Unfortunately, it's a very, very nascent and a small market today. And I don't think players have got it right. But if somebody was to put their heart into it and build it very well, I think everybody, at least, so I'm a Marwadi. I can take Marwadis and Gujaratis have enough storage problems in their house. You can take all of that away as long as you can give it to my wife in the next 6 hours. She's happy with it. So I think there's a great potential for the business. I'm not sure if anybody I know in India has actually figured it out well.
Thank you, Mr. Satish. We'll have one more question.
One last question, yes.
Hi, my name is Pawan. My question is for Mr. Anuj. Sorry, this is not directly, this question doesn't directly fall under your forte. But I was just wondering that, if, say, for example, somebody wants to start or get into, say, Airbnb business, what is the typical IRR that one should look at where it makes sense for somebody to jump into it?
Sorry, did you ask me IRRs on co-working business?
Yep.
100%. I run my business at more than 100% plus IRR.
Cool. So basically, where after what point or below what point you think that the business will fail, if at all somebody wants to jump into it?
Sorry, couldn't get that.
Below what IRR percentage would a person fail or is destined to fail if somebody jumps into it?
He's asking you a threshold.
Sir, I think, let's not take co-working as a business, for example. I think in any business, if your unit economics are not correct and your IRRs are not correct, you're taking too expensive debt, don't do it. And that's a very simple model. I think anything less than 25-30% IRR, I don't think you should get into that business if it doesn't make sense. Sure. The way, and you have to learn, and I was having a chat with someone here, I won't name them, but I was having a chat with someone here on how she could actually make her business 100% plus IRR positive business, because if you are asset light and you know how to do that that's when you're successful. If somebody gave you 100 crores and you went and built something, that's money that did it for you. Can you make it for yourself without the money? That's the question that you have to ask. And if you can build that business in the right format, you will get it right. It'll take you a little longer. You won't be the instant Sonicon. And no one cares about the Sonicon if he's going to fail 1 week later. But if you do it the right way, you'll be fine.
Sure. Thank you everybody. Running short of time. Thank you gentlemen for all your insights. Thank you doctor. Thank you Anuj. Thank you Anant. They are available here. Anant and Anuj are available at their respective stalls. Doctor will leave, so if anybody wants to interact, once we're down, you can all interact. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I would like to invite anyone who hasn't met us at the Homes Collection. We are right behind.
Thank you. I request you all to remain on stage, and I now invite Mr. Amit Chopra, President NAR India, Chairman Goa Association of Realtors, to felicitate all of them.